guys, welcome back. BDCKR here, and we're back with another multiplayer strategy video to tide you over during the summer disruption of our regular Q&A schedule. And this week we're going to look specifically at Arkham Knight Batgirl. We've gone on the record a number of times saying that Arkham Knight Batgirl is necessary for every Arkham team, full stop. The Arkham universe, which includes plain vanilla Arkham, Arkham Origins, and Arkham Knight characters, has some of the most interesting synergies. And I think Arkham Knight Batgirl is the most important one because her passive applies to any Arkham character, whether it's Arkham Origins or Arkham Knight, and it makes any other character much, much better. So some passives, like Arkham Knight Catwoman's passive, requires other Arkham Knight characters and will exclude plain Arkham or Arkham Origin characters. Nothing ever excludes Arkham Knight characters, so Arkham Knight Batgirl is going to be great on any Arkham team. And I should actually say this entire video was kind of inspired by a recent question from Mokshnhalani1679. Why would you put the super pill on Batgirl? Wouldn't it make more sense to give her the League of Assassins Knives? So I guess technically this is Season 10, Episode 4 of our Q&A. Surprise. Okay, so this is a good example of the concept of anchoring that question, when a conversation is trapped a bit by the way it was started. And I don't mean this conversation starting with this comment. I mean the whole conversation as the game with Batgirl in it. Because all Batgirls have a special one that starts with the small amount of damage at the beginning that will stun if it's unblocked, followed up by the rest of the special one damage. And the reason this is such a powerful special is the existence of gears that will boost damage against stunned opponents. So that's Cloak of Destiny and Necron Scythe. So all the damage after the first part that stuns will be boosted to a level well out of proportion to most other special ones. Now, among the Batgirls, there's some minor variations. Batgirl Prime only has one more hit after the stun. This is important if you're getting splash damage with League of Assassins Knives, because none of her special 1 damage misses, and all of it is splashed on the other opponents. Arkham Knight Batgirl and Cassandra Cain Batgirl both have multiple hits after the first part. If any of the intermediate hits knock out the opponent, every hit after that will not register any damage because it's on that in-between part before the next person tags in. It doesn't hit. That's not as good for splash damage, but it is better against a character that revives because after you trigger the revive, the subsequent hits can knock out the opponent. So you compare that to Batgirl Prime, where that one big post-stun hit will not knock out any opponent that revives. So getting back to the idea of where the conversation starts, this is a well-established idea that Batgirl, including Arkham Knight Batgirl, is most powerful when she's given a gear loadout to take advantage of that strategy. So you give her League of Assassins Knives to boost special 1 damage, and give 50% splash damage to the other off-screen opponents. You give her Cloak of Destiny or Necron Scythe to boost damage against stunned opponents with an extra boosted crit damage with Cloak. And a third gear your third slot could be used to increase crit chance, like LexCorp Gauntlet for special 1. So you get a much more likely chance of getting the boosted up to 250% damage. Or use that third gear slot to generate power, so you have 1 bar when you tag in, and the common one is Tantu Totem because you are, or Master's Death card, because you, with Tantu Totem at least, you even get your power back every time after you knock out your opponent. So once you start with this idea of Batgirl being so powerful with this particular loadout, using this particular strategy, it's hard to get away from it, which is probably the basis for Mokshnhalani1679 asking why we would use overpowered super on Arkham Knight Batgirl. And the basis for the answer is this. As powerful as Arkham Knight Batgirl is on her own as the main damage dealer in your team, she's even more powerful if you take advantage of her passive. Quick recap of her passive is Got Your Back. Batgirl has a chance for her special 1 or special 2 to be unblockable. Arkham characters, so that's important. Arkham characters, it's not Arkham Knight, it's not Arkham Origins, it's all Arkham characters, can be rescued from 1 knockout blow by swapping in for them and using a smoke bomb with a chance to stun. What it doesn't tell you that chance is pretty much 100%. I don't know that it's anything less than 100%. The only thing that will protect against a stun is if the opponent has an invulnerability. Being in the middle of a special doesn't protect them. basically anything except for an invulnerability. And it's not only that she can save her teammates, it's not only that she stuns when she saves her teammates, and it's not only that there are gears that can take boosted damage against, or that can boost damage against opponents that she stuns when she saves her teammates. The best part is that those gears that boost damage against opponents will stack. Cloak of Destiny, Necron Scythe, you put them both on the same person, even more stun damage. So if you're going to use 2 gear slots with Cloak and Scythe, what should you do about the third? So here's the thing. Should you use League of Assassins Knives if you're playing Batgirl to save your team? I say no. The splash damage is worth less the fewer opponents that are left. And so listen, if there's 3 opponents left and Batgirl saves a teammate, sure, you'll do a lot more splash damage. But it also means your team is bad and doesn't have enough offensive output before you get to Batgirl. So what about Lexical Gauntlets? Right? That's pretty commonly used in the Arkham Knight Batgirl as her own sort of one-woman wrecking crew. Also a no. Maybe half the time you come in with enough power to do a special one. I mean, obviously, you will come in with more... You're more likely to come in with power if you're using Arkham Origins Bane and you let him get knocked out. Or you're more likely to get more power, be sitting on power if you're taking a long time and then you lose a teammate and then Batgirl has to come in and save them, which is also not optimal. So let's say half the time you come in with enough power for a special one. In the other half, it doesn't help at all. Luxor Gauntlets, right? It's for a special one. You are standing in front of an opponent. They're stunned. You don't have enough power to do special. Lexicor Gauntlets isn't really contributing anything to what your next steps are. So what about guaranteed power? What about a third gear that gives you power for sure? I think that's also a no, because any guaranteed power gear is going to be more useful on your main damage dealer. And that's not going to be Batgirl if you're going to use her for her passive. And I think it's really a big opportunity cost. Now, so here's the thing. You could give up either Cloak or Scythe as her 2 other gears. But if you use that in practice, you're going to quickly realize that the amount of damage you do is really reduced. The amount of basic damage that she does against a stunned opponent is ridiculous when you've got Cloak and Scythe. When you notice that sometimes you will crit and sometimes you won't if you've got her augmented, then you realize, aha, there's only one piece of gear that can boost basic damage by 50%. So you combine that 50% with the max augmented 50%, and that could give you a 100% chance of having crit hits on basic attacks. There are the gears that will boost crit chance, but nothing else will also do that and boost basic damage. And that one gears is overpowered super. So once you've played with this loadout enough, you're going to realize that a swipe combo against a stunned opponent is a lot of times enough to knock them out. So even on this Arkham Knight Batgirl, she's not Elite 10. She's not maxed out. She's still level 50 only. You can see that her swipe combo against an opponent that doesn't have a passive or gears that will lower the amount of damage taken, she can do 100,000 damage on one swipe combo. So it's better than splash damage because there's no uncertainty about the number of opponents left. It's better than a special because it doesn't require power. You are guaranteed the ability to do it as soon as you tag in, as soon as you come in to save your teammate and stun the opponent. Now, there's nothing stopping you from doing a special if you do have the power, but you don't have to. So if you look at it this way, on the one hand, if you use League of Assassins Knives, you'll get boosted damage on special 1, splash damage on special 1 on off-screen opponents. But on the other hand, if you can knock them out with the basic combo anyway, that boosted damage on special 1 wouldn't have been enough to make a difference. Didn't even need that power. And the splash damage has much less value the fewer opponents that are left. And one other thing to keep in mind, there's one other big added benefit. And if you pay attention and watch, you're going to see some footage of this. If you've played with Batgirl, you've probably noticed the glitch. Arkham Knight Batgirl, you've probably noticed the glitch, and you probably seen footage in this video where if you do a special one without letting her feet settle, and so that's the idea where she's maybe a step or more away from the opponent, and you trigger a special one while she is about to take a step closer, then she will stun the opponent because it's a ranged special, but then the rest of her special one won't hit. It's the kick, it's the knee, right, to the opponent that will whiff, and then she ends her animation early. Your bar power is gone, and you've done almost no damage to your opponent. And they're just standing right there. However, the opponent is still stunned. And Batgirl can get a basic combo in. And if you've got Overpowered Super as your third gear, you're doing 250% of your stacked stunned damage instead of averaging out to only 200%, so average of 250 and 150 of your stacked stunned damage. And you know that it's going to be those fights where you really need it, that you average down less, and that difference can often be the difference between a knockout and scrambling to keep Batgirl from getting knocked out before you can get her off screen. This is not a concern, obviously, when she saves her teammate, but she will sometimes be caught in a fight and need to stay for a few moments. And if you're going to do a special one that whiffs, that really misses after stunning the opponent, being able to do a basic damage combo that has 100% critical hits can totally save the fight. So I'm going to let this play out with a few specific examples of Arkham Knight Batgirl showing what a badass she is. And that is the Injustice multiplayer strategy tip for this week. A big thank you to our patrons on Patreon, and that would be Alexis M, supporting us on the Your Message Here tier, Michael Devries, Irvin Ruiz, and Hoshi127, who are supporting us on the credited level. And thank you so much for watching. Komoda.